they want to say to, because maybe, I trust this person to talk about my issues, but not everyone's going to have that kind of, confidence to go up and tell or say something to someone, because they're worried that it might, you know, they might, someone might tell someone else because they don't have that emotional intelligence, when it comes to talking about deep issues.
Yeah.
You
And you know what? I just thought of something like, even when it comes to vulnerability, yeah, I feel like like me personally, before grief, I didn't really appreciate. I just thought like, especially like, and the reason why I say that, because I just felt like growing up, like that's not like talking about feelings and how it's not something that I was like, I was thinking about,
yeah,
because me at 20 was just about uni, enjoying the uni life and just having fun. I wasn't thinking, oh, like I'm gonna have heart to hearts with people, and
yeah,
I probably didn't even know okay, I knew what vulnerability was, but I didn't care for it. Like me talking to someone about my feelings was just like, okay, I don't, maybe this is what people do
yeah,
when they're going through stress, or even I just feel like guys, we don't do all that.
yeah. And I know
Like,
it's just an ongoing debate,
do you know what I mean? We don't, okay,
literally.
like we can, I can be with friends, and whether we're out or doing whatever, I'm like, and if someone wants to say, oh, start talking about, like, I don't know, just talking on a level, being open, being vulnerable, I'm just like, well, this ain't the time. This is,
Yeah,
you know what I'm trying to
nah,
say.
man.
We're trying to turn up and, you know what I mean, live
Yeah,
life. Like, we don't, this ain't, you know what I mean, what we doing. But again, that's because like it was just a thing. It was just maybe just football, like, not to be stereotypical, but just football. Oh, like, like, what girl can you talk to? And
yeah.
it's not really about, oh, how, where's your mental health at? Like, what, on a scale of 1 to 10? Like, no one ain't trying to hear that. Like,
No, no one's no, one-
so
no,
it's
one-
like,
no one wants to hear
and
that
then,
talk. But
and I'm not saying I wasn't, I was, like I said, I know me, I've always been sort of person who's always been expressive, but it's just that I didn't appreciate that part of me, that because I thought I had to be a certain way, because as a guy, I want to be known to be a certain type of guy, as opposed to, oh yeah, he's a guy who wears his heart on his sleeve, and he
yeah.
he talks about his feelings. It almost didn't feel like,
He wants to be stoic,
yeah, it's not really, but like, I feel like now, as I've, not only as I'm older, but
Yeah,
as I've gone through grief, I appreciate that even more.
yeah,
It's almost like, yo, like, this person's opened up to me. I feel privileged, because because I said before, you're not going to open up to just anyone. To be vulnerable isn't that's not that's it's not something that you take for granted. It's something that, that person trusts you enough to, to let their guard down. And again, I don't, when we talk about, when I say vulnerability, I don't mean vulnerability isn't just like, oh, like someone coming to you crying.
yeah,
It can be about, what, I'm feeling stressed about this, and I feel like I've tried this, I don't know what to do. Do you know what I mean? It's just being, allowing themselves to kind of let their guard down. And I'm not saying people can't, it's wrong to have it up. There's nothing wrong with that. But me personally, I feel like vulnerability it kind of gives you a, like, understand, and it makes you understand people a lot more. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, and I feel like you kind of appreciate when people are vulnerable towards you, and because it's not easy thing. We're not all kind of built to. We're not all built the same way. A lot of people can show emotions quite easily than others. So when someone who can't show it quite easily is forthcoming to you, and open up to you, that's not, you can't take that lightly, man.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
But I think also it's how are they gonna be vulnerable as well, because they might not know how to be, vulnerable to a certain person, or if it's a relationship,
yeah,
they might not know how to communicate that properly.
yeah, like
Is
yeah, I think that's true as well. So that's how I never say, like, I get everyone's difference, and we can't all judge and say just because someone's not is quite, it seems a bit like, they're quite stoic, or they don't really open up. It doesn't mean like they're incapable of being vulnerable. Maybe they just don't know how to, innit? Do you know what I mean? But like, I don't know. I feel like because when I said earlier, but I don't know if I know anyone who I've not seen vulnerability from. Like me personally, probably my dad. You know, I don't think I've ever seen my dad vulnerable. Like, and that could be partly because, yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him be vulnerable. Like, and that's for my mum. And my mum, I've always seen her as you know, she's always been like someone who's very strong. Like, I've already seen her cry. I've seen her cry like probably 3 times my whole entire life. Like, and it's that moment I'm like, right, okay, right, like my mum actually cries. Like, you're just thinking, you just think like, okay, like, but then, and I feel like, and I'm not saying it's an African thing or like, one thing I do appreciate, like in hindsight, like, or growing up, is that my family, they'll always encourage me to be vulnerable. They'll like, and when I say that, I mean like, they'll always be like, you know what, if you ever want to talk about something, you know we're here, you know, like you can talk.
Yeah.
And at the time, I may not have taken up at the time, but I appreciate that. So I think that in turn subconsciously allowed me to be vulnerable, because I know like my environment, you know, it's not hostile to that. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, so I kind of, so now as I'm older, I do definitely appreciate having that from family, like being able to, like, you know what, I can talk to them. There's nothing like I can't say, because, you know, sometimes, like, obviously I'm not a parent, but, you know, like when, like, growing up here, you do something and you're scared to tell your parents, because you know if they when they report you, you know it's peak when you go home, like. But I feel like, I'm not saying I was bad, but I feel like with my family and my mum, she was always like, you know what, yeah, like, just, you know, be respectful, don't go out and do anything, man. But I feel like I never really felt, again, not to say that I got into trouble, but when I did, I never really felt, oh my God, my mom's gonna kill me. Like, I don't know what to, like, I never really felt that, because I feel like she was never really, I think she'd be angry at something, but she was never really like, oh my, like, no, you can't come and tell me anything. Do you know what I mean? And looking back, that's one of the things that I appreciate, because, you know, okay, because for me, it allows me to acknowledge, okay, you know, I've done something wrong. And yes, I know that, I probably know that it is wrong, but my family, they understand that. I get punished, don't get me wrong, I still get punished, but they understand, listen, this is wrong, it's what you've done. But it's like, that's the end of it, sort of thing, as opposed to, like, you know, because what it is, yeah, we're not perfect, we're all gonna make mistakes, innit?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I feel like if I had a family where, like, yes, they tell me don't make mistakes, but they give me a hard time, as if to say I can never make a mistake ever in my life, that's a bit like, yo, it's mad. You just think like you can't, you're not really, you can't really breathe, because
Yeah.
you make one mistake and your family is just like crucifying you. Yes, yeah, punishment, I get that, but once you've established what you've done, sorry, and they've established that what you've done is wrong, this is your punishment, this is why it's wrong, and then you move on from there. But some people are like, no, it's wrong, you're bad, they make you feel so bad, and it's like, that will knock your self-esteem, man, because you're thinking, I know I did bad, but like, my parents hate me for it, like. So it's like, for me, even though times when I was bad, like, I always understood that, you know what, we don't hate you, but what you did was wrong. And that kind of hearing that, it's still nice to hear, because, you know, okay, I know I did wrong, so it makes you even want to do right, or be better, because, you know, like, you have a supportive family. Do you know what I mean? Like when you growing up, how did you feel in terms of, like, did you ever feel like pressured, in a sense where if you got in trouble doing something that you wasn't supposed to do, you feel like as soon as your mom or dad hears about, you know, oh my gosh, did you have that fear, or was it like, you know what, I know I did wrong, but I know my parents they'll punish me, but they will understand, okay, that, you know, what you did is wrong, they'll punish me and make me learn from my mistake, rather than crucifying you and be like, no, you're wrong, like, you're a bad person. Do you know what I mean? Like, did you ever get that?
I think my dad, when I was young, even though he loves me, he'll still, you know, hit, you know, you remember
What'd you get, the belt or the slipper?
the belt,
Hey, hey,
you know,
hey, that belt, yeah. I'm
The cane, especially the cane bar, literally. Oh God.
African parents, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Yeah, so like, yeah, so what was that? What was that like? As in, so did you feel like room to breathe in a sense where if you get in trouble, I'll be punished, but I know that they will understand, or was it the opposite?
Yeah, so my dad still, loved me regardless, but obviously I have to go through this in order to,
Yeah.
learn the lessons. So yeah, he was still respectful. He just saying that, oh, don't do this again, or
Mm.
get into fights with your brothers, or
Yeah.
like, literally. So I think we were just arguing over the TV or something, and yeah. And then as soon as he came upstairs, I just knew I'm getting in trouble, you know. And my mum, I think she was a more under she understood more, but obviously she did take me to the side and say, "Oh, don't do this ever again,"
Mm.
you know. So yeah, I think some people might take it differently, or people might be afraid of what they're gonna do because it's so bad,
Yeah.
you know.
But even like growing up, yeah, did you ever feel like, because I feel like a lot of us, especially um a lot of us like second born like Africans here, yeah, we kind of have not. I'm not saying we all grew up the same, but we can relate to each other in a lot of ways, like in terms
Yeah.
of like upbringing. You know, like some people with like strict parents and things like that, and like with vulnerability, I feel like that kind of made me even not want to get in trouble because I know that okay, my family they're open to that. I can talk to them about things.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like, oh, I can't. If I have a problem, they're gonna be. Yes, again, I'm not the punishment. You will get punished, innit? But I
Yeah.
feel like it's not. It's about making. How can I put it? You will get punished, but I think what was important is that for my family is that they always make sure that what, like you're only human. I know you've done wrong, but just because we're punishing you, it doesn't mean like we neglect you or we don't care about you, but just that you have to learn that this was wrong. This
Yeah.
is so it's like, so what I'm saying with me, because I had that, I felt like a lot safer. So again, when I did get in trouble, I'm not saying I did it on purpose. I took advantage of it, but I just feel like I've got a lot of family who supports me. So I know like even just let's forget about trouble, forget trouble. Even just in terms of just going through stuff, I could talk
Talk
to
to
my
them.
family.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I didn't feel I'm gonna be embarrassed about this, and I feel like typically, as some will say, in some African households, it's often kind of like like kind of stern household. Like maybe don't really talk about much or certain things, but I didn't really get that. Do you know what I mean? I don't feel like I lived in a typical like African household. And by me saying that, I'm not saying this is how all Africans are. So I don't want to kind of paint that picture of saying, oh, Africans are just very stoic or we don't kind of show vulnerability, because yeah, we
Yeah.
do. But I'm just saying in some families that's not always like that. But that doesn't mean that represents the whole,
Mm.
of people from Nigeria or Ghana. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's different for everyone. But I feel like growing up, I feel that kind of helped me how I am today in terms of like being able to be expressive and not get in trouble, because I feel like my family weren't strict, but if you get in trouble, yeah, you're gonna be punished, innit?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it was like just growing up around a lot of love and vulnerability. I think that helps me, like, do you know what I'm trying to say? It helped me kind of be a better person, especially as a man where like, or as a boy at the time where you feel like, you can't do this or like it did. So I'm glad that I didn't have that pressure of, no, you can't, because you're a boy, you can't do this. Because you're a boy, you can't. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I didn't have that kind of I won't even say stigma, but I didn't. Yeah, I didn't have that pressure basically.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think that definitely played a large part in my like in my development.
Yeah. Especially when the uncles say, "You are the man of the house."
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like, oh, and you don't even know what is okay. Like I know I'm the only man in the house, but it's like I know it's like that pressure of, okay, like because you're in the man of the house, it's like you have to be a certain way.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's the thing. We're not all one way. Do you know what I mean? We're gonna be very different.
Mm.
And that's the thing. Like, like, did you feel any pressures? Like when like when growing up and stuff?
Well, over this being the
Like,
only guy, or
yeah, being the only guy, and also just like um trying to be a man, but not on your terms, but on this kind of societal societal terms. So did you find pressure to kind of adhere to that, or did you feel like you've always been like your own man sort of thing?
it's a good question. So, where do I start? All right. So, I think it's a mix of probably people and obviously myself as well. It's just
Mm,
basically based on the people that I've been around with. That's how I defined what being a man was.
mm,
You know, because obviously, um, you grew up around your uncle, your dad, and you thought maybe the way they're talking or approaching people or their relationships are like, that's what a man should be. You know,
mm,
they should be leaders. They should be strong, calm, and obviously independent.
yeah,
Even those things are all good, you know, and obviously there's nothing wrong with showing a bit of like, you know, vulnerability as well, because obviously when it comes to guys, we don't like to say, you
yeah,
know, how's your mental health, bro? You
yeah,
know, I
yeah,
love you and all that stuff.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah. Oh
it
yeah,
might,
trust me,
it just puts some people off, you know,
trust me, man.
you know.
Like that's the thing, and even just like I just remember like even just growing up, because it's I feel like it's trying to be a man, but also trying to be cool. Like especially in school, it's like
You
everyone's a very impressionable, but you want to be that. You want to be like a certain way, and it's
know,
like I don't know. And you know, when I think about it, it's like who you doing that for? Do you know what I mean? Like you're
yeah,
trying to be cool, or you're trying to be like, oh, I'm the I'm the tough guy. Like
yeah,
that was literally what it was, being that guy with no emotions. Like, but then when you try to pretend, when you try and pretend to be that, especially if you're not like that naturally, it's kind of people you will get found out.
yeah. I think another point to follow on that, I think people get their inspiration from like films, TV shows, or maybe they'll go to another outside source
Mm,
to what it means to be a man, you know, because obviously there's films like The Dark Knight and what else? I don't know, Suits or
mm,
something. I think that's what people think being a man is, but what they don't realize is that they're fictional characters, so they're not even real, you know.
mm,
So you acting like that in real life is not gonna be, you know, it's not really gonna last long because people
yeah,
will know that, oh, this is not you, you know, and
yeah,
the way you're acting is just
yeah. Like you,
mm,
but do you feel like nowadays, yeah, just even just in media and just life in general, do you feel like nowadays vulnerability is almost seen as a um I don't want to say secret weapon, but it's kind of like something that's kind of celebrated now amongst men.
I think yes and no.
Why do you think no?
Um, so I think probably because when it comes to like getting into relationships, is people don't like to show that vulnerable side of them, even though it is important because you're in a relationship and you're there to connect with one another and learn
Mm,
about them. So I think some men just don't want to show their vulnerable side, you know, because they want to be seen as the tough guy, you know. But
yeah,
obviously, um, some of them will be comfortable depending on who it is. Some people they might not have the emotional intelligence, you know, to
mm.
show that side of them. Oh yeah,
I'm not gonna. Okay, why do you think so? Why do you think yes? That is kind of celebrated now amongst men.
because we're human, and obviously we're gonna go through things that will hurt us, that will, you know, um, also things that will build us up as well. So we're showing the human side, you know,
Mm,
of ourselves that. not many people will even realize, oh, he's going through that issue, and I can relate to him as well. You know.
Yeah, and I feel like because even just I was watching The Breakfast Club. There's this guy, I think, what was his name? Let me try and find it.
What episode was it?
It was this with this guy. He was like I think his name was something L something, and he was just talking about like men being vulnerable, like how it's important, like, and he was like, and it was honestly like it was amazing to watch, man.
Yeah.
And my point I'm trying to get with that is that when I see stuff like that, that encourages me. Like, okay, you know what? Listen, because they're men who are talking about that. Because the thing is, I feel like when you see some, even though like I say we shouldn't focus too much on media representation, but nowadays we've got so much more new media like podcasts and things like this where you're seeing men talking about things and being vulnerable, and it's like I like it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's good because you feel like, okay, you know what, like we are really talking, we are being vulnerable. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's no longer a thing of like, oh, we can't really do that, it's like that's a bit. But now it's like, okay, no, it's that person's doing, and especially if it's from people you look up to. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like, I don't know, but I feel like, I won't say I don't have any role models, but I feel like growing up, I didn't have like a father figure. Well, apart from my granddad, but for my dad, I didn't really have a father figure in him. Not because I feel like he wasn't capable, but because he wasn't around. So for me, like vulnerability wasn't something that I felt like I needed to be, because I didn't see it around. All I saw was like, you need to just be cool, tough, like just make sure you're not really showing being weak around people. So if I had seen that growing up, maybe it might have been different. But I'm saying like now, as an adult, I'm seeing that. So it's like, okay, I feel comfortable. I've always been like that. But even just us having this platform and being able to like express ourselves, and do you know what I mean? It's like almost, it feels good. I'm glad that we can do that, do you know what I'm trying to say? And obviously, like, it's unfortunate how we've got here. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I feel like it's still good, because just because you're vulnerable, it doesn't mean like you're no longer like, you can't have moments of where you need to, be tough, or you know what I'm saying? It's just, and I think now it's not about pretending anymore. It's about just being yourself, man, and being human. It comes with a bit of vulnerability, because as a human, when you think of people being humans, we're humans first before anything. So before we're men, before we're black, we're humans. Do you know what I'm trying to say? But of course, everything else kind of comes. All the other things come before that. So it's like we're judged by color. We're judged because we're men. Do you know what I mean? So it's like the vulnerability is kind of like, it's harder to see, because people, it's like you got to get through those other layers first. Do you know what I mean? So, but now it's like, okay, cool. Now we're showing that now we're human first. Now we're vulnerable, like. And in the past, I think, for me anyway, the reason why I felt like vulnerability was bad, because it's something that can be used against me. So like, imagine that the someone see you crying and stuff, and like, oh, I remember when like you. Like, but back then, oh, you're moist, man. We saw you crying, like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, even getting robbed, even that is like, you're vulnerable because you're getting robbed, and even that is like, oh, it's almost like a thing of like, nah, okay, you're not gonna grow respect anymore because you got robbed. Like, are you really like man, or really?
Oh
do
yeah,
you know what I'm trying to say?
So
Like,
they'll try and use small like coded language. Like, oh, you're a man. This isn't supposed to happen to you.
do you know what I mean? Like, you let someone else take your. And I'm gonna lie, I've been robbed, in it. I've been robbed. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's like that feeling. Yeah, it's not nice, man. You just feel you feel vulnerable. Like, as in you feel low. Like, almost like you can be easily robbed. Like, are you not a man where like you let a lot of people take your goods? And it's like, obviously back then that's what it was about. It was about ego, being boisterous, and all that kind of stuff. Like, I'm not saying it'll happen now, but honestly, if someone wants to take my phone now, it's like my phone or my life. I'm gonna choose my life, in it. I'm trying to say, like, so it's like, it's different now. I'm trying to say, it's not. I'm not saying I will, but if it were to happen, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, okay, shit. My life is worth more than £1,000. Like,
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. So it's like, so yeah, man. I think it's just about understanding like where you're at. And it's knowing yourself as well, man. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's knowing yourself. And once you know yourself, this whole, oh, you're not a man, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, we change the goalposts of what being a man is anyway. Tomorrow it might be something else. The next year it might be something else. So just be the man you need to be for yourself, not for anyone else. Or do you know what I'm trying to
It's
say?
important, yeah.
That's what's important, man. So like, and I think that's even just as you know, here we always talk about grief and mental health. I think that's more important for your mental health, just being the man for you. Never mind, like, because think about it, if you're always trying to like be be the man for everyone else, or like, or for your family, like, be it for you. I mean, be it for you. It's not like, be confident in who you are. Do you know what I'm trying to say, like, and there's something about that, like because when you own something, when you own yourself, or you are happy in the brand you've created, as in you being the brand. It's like, listen, this is you, man. Like, it's not about, you don't get worried about other people's opinion anymore. But if you keep constantly like worried about, oh, I don't know what people are gonna think of this, like this, like, you're not living. You're forever enslaved with other people's opinions, man.
Yeah, I think that comes to the point of comparing yourself with other people as well. That kind of ties in as well, because we do it a lot, and obviously it's normal to do it, but obviously at the same time, you just need to be confident in who you are, the abilities God has given you, and just not let people, walk over you.
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
That's also important. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, even if you can think back here, I would say probably like last year. Was there a moment where you felt like you were very, very vulnerable? Like,
Last year,
yeah. Or moments. It could be a moment, or moments where you felt like quite vulnerable.
probably, I'll probably say issues, part of it, issues that I go through. Those are times when I'm a bit more vulnerable, but it depends who I'm saying it to, because they need to be matured enough to have the conversation. Because if the person isn't matured, then he might not be able to handle,
Yeah.
what comes.
But not even in the sense of as in being vulnerable with someone, but where you felt vulnerable more. So not necessarily like you've gone to speak to someone and you're being vulnerable to them, but just more so on the thing of you felt vulnerable because of something.
Okay. I don't think I recall one.
And I asked that because I asked that because I just wanted to like get like how how you felt, and also like what, if there were any sort of things in your head where you felt like, okay, I can't be like this, or you've just kind of surrendered to the idea that, what, like, right now I'm gonna be vulnerable, and even though I asked that, I don't know if I can think of a moment, but I think for me it was definitely, if I can think, I think I always have like different moments of where I'm vulnerable, but I think there was a time where I thought, you know what, yeah, like I don't even know, like, can I do this? When I say can I do this, I don't mean something in particular. I just mean like, how can I put it? Like, am I really gonna live a good life? Like, and I don't know what spurred it on, but I just felt like it was just because I just felt, like I'll be honest, I think it was a moment where I kind of felt a bit sorry for myself in it, but I just felt like, what, is there anything else to look forward to? Because I just feel like the past has been so much.
Yeah.
Like, so in that moment, I kind of felt vulnerable. And to be honest, I kind of felt like, I didn't speak to anyone, but I kind of felt, nah, at least someone just to tell me, like, it's going to be cool, man.
Yeah. I
That,
think,
you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
yeah, you just need that reassurance, that encouragement from people, that it's going to be okay, and obviously you shouldn't be afraid to reach out to someone, because you never know, they might give you some advice that will help you, the day today or the day after.
yeah, like, And that's what I felt, man. And you know, and it's like I've got to tell myself that, because you know what it is. What I feel like at times, yeah. I don't know if this is toxic, yeah. But in my head, I'm like, no one's coming to save me.
Mm,
Like I can be like, oh yeah, I feel this, but no, it's up to me to get myself up.
yeah.
And I don't know if that works to be motivational, if that works to be toxic, but essentially that's what I think. No one's coming to save me.
To be honest, I think. I think that point, is true, but at the same time, there's nothing wrong with reaching out to people as well.
Mm.
You know, so they can direct you, they can guide you to where you need to go or be. But I think at the end of the day, it's we're the early ones that can, get to that
Yeah,
place.
no, it's true. It's true. And I
Yeah.
think sometimes, I'm not saying that, because I feel like, you know, if you have a problem, there's obviously always a solution to it, and
Yeah.
we should always strive to um use the best solution to solve our problems. But sometimes I'm like, just because me, I think because of me, I'm also a person, I like words of affirmation. Like,
Yeah.
so I like, so I don't mean in terms of a relationship. I just mean, not, it can be platonic or non-platonic, but I just like, you know, nah, bro, you got, like, don't worry, it's gonna be cool. I know that might not change things in that particular moment, but it kind of serves as encouragement in my head. I'm like, okay, cool. You know what? I know, like, I've got good support around me, so I know I got this. Do you know what I'm trying to say? That kind of feeling. But sometimes I'm like, nah, you know what? No one's coming to save you, man.
Mm.
Like, so stop. Like, it's like that toxic thing of like, nah, stop crying or stop feeling sad or sorry for yourself, because nah, you have to. It's like a tough love sort of thing I do to myself, but sometimes it could be toxic because I'm like, no, you know what? No one's coming to save me, so I can do this by myself. No one needs to know what I'm going through, like, and that's where I feel like it's a bit toxic. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do you have that sometimes?
Good question. Um, yeah, I get it sometimes. Definitely. Like, when you're doing a workout or you're exercising and you're trying to get that last
Yeah,
rep, and
yeah, yeah.
something in your mind is telling you, "Nah, go down. You can't do this
No,
anymore."
it's like
Like sometimes your mind can literally just fight with you.
yeah, yeah.
Like literally all the time, regardless. But sometimes you just can't listen to what it's trying to tell you. Just keep going,
Yeah.
because that will just push the mind to get out of its like comfort zone. And I'm reading a book called "Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess" by Dr. Caroline Leaf. So it's a really good book.
Yeah.
I recommend to anyone that wants to do with like mental health and finding ways of how you can handle it. And I'm learning a lot of just tips and advice just from reading the book. So definitely, she talks a lot about how to deal with toxic thoughts and reinforce them with positive thought.
Yeah.
And obviously, I know with this toxic positivity going on, obviously, I think she mentioned it in one of the book one time that sometimes it's good to have a toxic thought, because it shows that when that thought does come, it means that there's a way of handling it so that it doesn't what's the word? So it doesn't overtake your thoughts.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think she just talks about things in a very scientific way. Like, if you're into science, then it will be a really good book to read.
So I'm gonna put it in the episode description. What's it called? Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess.
Yeah, by Dr. Caroline Leaf.
Yeah. No, I think, yeah, it's all about just continue to understand ourselves, man. Like, like I said, it's, we will have toxic thoughts, but it's just about addressing that and making sure that, you just don't get too caught up with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this has been good, man. This is episode 65. Well, first episode of the year, actually.
Yep.
So happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
We had a little hiatus, but we're back. So just to say a thank you to everyone who's been listening, continuous listeners, new listeners. If you're listening, if you're watching, no, so if you're listening and watching, we appreciate everyone that's been supporting us, sharing our stuff.
Shout out to everyone.
Following us. Really appreciate it. We just hope to continue this year. Just keep talking as we did today. But just for a run out, let's just do like a little, for all the new listeners or watchers, if you don't know by now, me and Ben, we started this podcast, like, it's been almost like, almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be 2 years in March, actually.
Yeah, March.
Yeah, so, because we've gone through grief, we lost our parents. So this was like I would say like maybe silver lining for it. So we've had a lot of guests who've shared their stories too. And hope this year we have to have more guests who come and share their story and just keep having a conversation, helping people. Or we hope we're helping people. But we really appreciate everyone that's listened or shared our stuff. And, if you're listening now, before you go, please leave a review on Apple Podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. It means a lot to us.
Yep.
Follow us on Spotify. And
I think there's a TikTok page as well.
we're on TikTok now. Yeah, that's like TikTok is just like another. It's crazy there, man. Like literally, like the amount of the stuff, but it's emerging. So we're on that. We're gonna try and get to grips with that.